me vuelva a pasar, no me vuelva a pasar. Ok. A ver. ¿Qué estaba haciendo yo? Ah, bueno, estaba conectando mis audífonos. Y pillen. Estos audífonos, estos micrófonos tienen aquí una ruedita. ¿Qué pasa con esas rueditas para subir y bajar el volumen? No había visto. Y yo creo que le di unos 100 metros en vuelta. Entonces tengo que pasarlo. Igual se escucha bien. Según aquí lo ves, se escucha bien. Vengo a ver si... O bueno, es que esta mierda se dañó. Espero que no. Vamos. No, y ahora. Y aquí, y de él. Debería tener un switch como... No un switch, como un... ¿Cómo es que se llama eso? Un atrancado, como ya es el máximo volumen, eso es lo mínimo que puedes bajar. Pero no. It's not like that. Ay, si Camacho me regalas este buff, marica, lo mejor, realmente sería lo mejor. Sería lo mejor. Well, you know. Por fin podría escuchar y podría editar algunos videitos. No sé si voy a dar esto o le meto aquí el line. No, pero es que esas hijo de madre están muy duras, weón. Ay, esas hijo de madres. Ole, no. Ole, me va a rendir. ¿Será que no subes más? No entiendo. Estoy moviendo los muchos, weón. Bueno, eso es lo que pude. No voy a jugar más con esto. Realmente no hice lo que pude. Voy a apagar la luz, weón. Pumba. Ojalá tuviera un equipo profesional de esta vuelta, pero no. A ver. Pero antes voy a organizar. Qué cosita con esto, pues. Aquí viendo mi stream, weón. Marca esto acá. Ahora sí. Esto sí va acá. Este no. O sea, este sí, pero se puede usar en diferentes ocasiones de la vida. Fiumba, esto también, de hecho. Mi agüita. Bajo estos libros. Uy, no, domingo sí lo voy a hacer para descansar de los libros. Porque los libros. ¿Los libros qué? Esperen. Perdón, no se estaba escuchando. Mi idea es colocarle música, pero creo que YouTube puso eso de que uno no puede como ¿cómo se llama eso? Como dejar una ventana abierta así para que se escuche. Hay que hacer. Que yo no tengo. ¿Qué otra aplicación tengo? No, ahorita que escuchar, yo no recuerdo. Ah, bueno, si escucho la música, pues que lo escucho. Sorry guys, I need to do this. Pues el menú principal no, pero hoy solo jugamos Ainlab, no jugamos Valorant. Pero esto es canción. Tugi, 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 tugi. Ay. Se re buen sample esta canción, wow. Fuck is so difficult. Ok, ¿sí la hice? Bien, hice más de 10. Una precisión de 20 y cuánto más. Esto es re duro, güey. Es que es muy duro, marica. Yo trato como de darle, pero es que de seguirla, pero es que no puedo, weón, simplemente no puedo, es muy... No, sí puedo, ¿cómo no va a poder? Creo que es re duro. Bueno, creo que la estoy haciendo bien. Es que es re duro, weón. ¿La hice? Bien, la hice. Hice lo que pude. Tuki, 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 tuki. Bien. Ese me decía que ese es re duro. Ese es re fucking duro. Ay, Dios mío. No la logré. Ah, no, sí. Hay menos 46 objetivos. Pero yo puedo. Tuki, tuki, tuki. Es que está re lejos. No sé qué tocaba hacer, pero la hice. Es que he notado que cuando cuando aprieto muy duro, o sea, cuando tenso la mano al coger el mouse, siento que, I feel when I put too much pressure or yeah, pressure into the mouse, I tend to lose a lot of flicks because I don't know, maybe because the right, the static position gave me that impression. I don't know, it's weird. It's not weird actually, but wait. Oh my god. Oh my god. Tugi, 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 tu. Ay, Dios. But yeah, it's when I like start to miss a lot of shots. Is when I tend to, uh, you know, overpass with the ash, with the energy in my hand. O sea, lo aprieto muy duro, pues. Vale, esta mierda es re dura. ¿La hice? Ya. Ay. Por ejemplo, en esos, marica, esto es re duro, weón. Es que, o sea, ahí voy. Estás en llama. Mayor dificultad, más recompensa. Próxima misión, a ver. Pap, pap. Ok, tranquilidad en la mano. Tuki, tuki. Uy, uy, uy. Dios mío, me enganché. Es que es no difícil ponerle, para mí, como... O sea, me gustaría moverme más lento o no. Bueno, de pronto, bueno, dice lo que puede. 55 objetivos, ok. Ok. No sé cómo harán esto, weón. ¿Cuál es la ciencia detrás de esto? ¿Cuál es la ciencia de los... el Line Lab? O sea, ¿qué gano yo con esto? ¿Por qué lo gano? ¿Cómo es? O sea, ¿cuál es la investigación detrás de esa que hace que esto sea posible? Pues, o sea, y si esto realmente representa una... ¿una qué? Una mejoría en el line, pues. Es lo que digo. Si nos mueven bien. Ok. Tú. Eso realmente no es tan difícil. Me parece a mí. Uy, Dios. Es re duro. Dugi. ¿Por qué no te puedo dar? Es como que le da la sombra, weón. Quiero personalizar mi isla, weón. Bueno, esta es cute son. Ya no me preocupa el tiempo, o sea, lo que hice. Ah, sí. Ah, esto es una mierda. A ver, me voy a relajar. No, muy duro. Bueno, terminémoslo ya porque ya lo empezamos. Tengo la mano retensa. Tengo la mano re dura, weón. Es que el tracking es re duro para mí. ¿Para qué decir yo mentiras? Vamos a este tipo. Ok, bien. Este tipo es un genio. Este man es muy pro. ¿Cómo se llega a ese nivel, weón? Dios. ¿Amado? Ah, ok. ¿Cuánto vale? ¿Cuánto putas vale?
That's where AimLab's new sensitivity finder comes in. As you play your favorite tasks in AimLabs, we analyze all aspects of your aim. Then it calculates a
Ah, yo
sensitivity
tenía ganas de
you
aprender más.
actually perform best at.
Pille,
Not the one
ahí
you
está la
think
información.
feels right, but the one where you are landing more shots and tracking smoother. Here's the best part. It takes under 10 minutes. Run it once a day before you hop into your main game, and you'll start your session already dialed in. Missing shots you swear you should have hit? Your sensitivity might be holding you back. That's where AimLab's new sensitivity finder
¡Ja!
comes in. As you play your favorite
Pille, se
tasks
los
in
dije.
AimLabs, we analyze all aspects of your aim. Then it calculates
Ok,
a
vamos a
sensitivity
leer
you
todo este
actually
documento.
perform best at. Not the one
Master
you
your
think
aim,
feels right,
dominate the
but the one where you
game.
are landing more
Woo!
shots and tracking smoother.
Bueno, me
Here's the
gusta
best part.
esa.
It takes under 10
Wow.
minutes.
it's really powerful. Master your aim, dominate the game, or join over 40 million players enhancing their FPS skills with aim-labs, the leading AI-powered aim trainer offering personalized tasks, real-time analytics, and game-specific tools to elevate your gameplay. Become a member. Vice, ESPN, IGN, The Washington Post, Match Bubble. What makes AimLabs great? What is AimLabs? Unlock your potential with AimLabs, the AI-powered platform trusted by millions to sharpen your aim, master your skills, and dominate any game. Start training now. 50k plus tasking playlist, 50p, 500 VPS game profiles, aim analysis with tailored tips, a power coach, Valorant official partner, and Rainbow Six Siege official partner. So the science behind our trend, AIMLabs will be AIMLabs was built by people who love gaming who also happen to be a mix of neuroscience, designers, developers, and computer vision pioneers. Our AIM trainer uses a combination of cognitive and sensory assessment to help gamers maximize their performance through gameplay. Check out our previewer replication. Okay, elevate your play. How we do it? AimLabs utilizes cutting-edge technology and personalized training routines to target your weaknesses. With real-time feedback and analytics, we ensure your skills improve efficiently and effectively. The importance of training. Look, training with AimLabs sharpens your reflexes, enhances accuracy, and builds muscle memory. Consistent practice leads to improved performance, giving you a competitive edge in every game. Improve 49% faster. Improve at faster pace by becoming a member and use of our member-only features. Sensitive Finder 2.0, the most precise and advanced sensitive finder available. Members using it improve 49% faster. Training programs. Guide training plans with daily mission matched to your skills. AM coach. Let our AI be your aim coach and help you identify your weaknesses. Chat AimLabs Plus. Chats lets you connect with fellow players, share tips, and get instant advice. Adaptive task. Train at your own pace with aim exercises tailored to your skill level. Valorant Trainer Center. Practice your aim one-on-one Valorant maps and get game-specific tips to improve. Yo creo que eso de one-on-one Valorant maps se refiere a que es la recreación 3D y ya, no es así, se ve bien. Premium Courses Academies. Clear video courses by expert aim coaches and pro players to uncover their secrets. 50% discount on shop. Enjoy half-price deals on exclusive earnings. Become a member. Get your chance to win from Watch, Learn, Improve. Learning that plays like a game. Explore learning plans created by expert pros across various games, or trainer tests you on what you have learned, making the experience interrupt any game. Stay up to date. Create your own training. I think it's just information. No puedo jugar, okay. So, your new experience always try to... ¿Lo puedo descargar? Dígame que lo puedo descargar gratis.
It calculates the sensitivity you actually perform best at. Not the one you think feels right, but the one where you're landing more shots and tracking smoother. Here's the best part. It takes under 10 minutes. Run it once a day before you hop into your main game, and you'll start your session already dialed in. Missing shots you swear you should have hit, your sensitivity might be holding you back. That's where AimLab's new sensitivity finder comes in. As you play your favorite tasks in AimLabs, we analyze all aspects of your aim. Then, it calculates the sensitivity you actually perform best at. Not the one you think feels right, but the one where you are landing more shots and tracking smoother. Here's the best part. It takes under 10 minutes. Run it once a day before you hop into your main game, and you'll start your session already dialed in. Missing shots you swear you should have hit, your sensitivity might be holding you back. That's where AimLab's new sensitivity finder comes in. As you play your favorite tasks in AimLabs, we analyze all aspects of your aim. Then, it calculates the sensitivity you actually perform best at. Not the one you think feels right, but the one where you are landing more shots and tracking smoother. Here's the best part. It takes under 10 minutes. Run it once a day
yo trabajando en eso,
sería increíble. Already dialed in. Missing shots you swear you should have hit, your sensitivity might be holding you back. That's where AimLab's new sensitivity finder comes in. As you play your favorite tasks in AimLabs, we analyze all aspects of your aim. Then, it calculates a sensitivity you actually perform best at. Not the one you think feels right, but the one where you are landing more shots and tracking smoother. Here's the best part. It takes under 10 minutes. Run it once a day before you hop into your main game, and you'll start your session already dialed in. Missing shots you swear you should have hit? Your sensitivity might be holding you back. That's where AimLab's new sensitivity finder comes in. As you play your favorite tasks in AimLabs, we analyze all aspects of your aim. Then, it calculates a sensitivity you actually perform best at. Not the one you think feels right, but the one where you are landing more shots.
Pues le damos, porque qué.
Smoother.
¿Algo
Here's
más
the
que hacer?
best part. It takes
Digamos que
under
subimos a
10
guardar
minutes. Run it
Ainlab,
once
ya
a
hicimos lo
day
que tenemos
before
que
you
hacer
hop
al
into your
parecer.
main game, and you'll start your session already dialed in. Missing shots you swear you should have hit? Your sensitivity might be holding you back. That's where
¿Se guardó o no se va a guardar?
finder comes in. As you play your favorite tasks in
Bueno,
AimLabs,
in
we
contrast to
analyze all
traditional
aspects
professional
of your
sports,
aim.
there are few
Then, it
standardized metrics
calculates a
in
sensitivity you actually
in
perform best
professional
at. Not the one you think
esports,
feels
competitive
right, but the
multiplayer
one where
video
you're
game for
landing more
assessing a
shots
player
and tracking
skill
smoother.
and
Here's the
ability.
best part. It
We
takes under
assess
10
the
minutes. Run it once a day before
performance
you
of
hop into your
professional
main game,
level
and you'll
players
start
in
your
A
session
lab.
already
A
dialed in. Missing shots you
first
swear
person
you should have
shooter
hit? Your
training and
sensitivity
assessment
might
game
be holding
with
you
two
back.
target
That's where
shooting
AimLab's
tasks.
new
These
sensitivity
tasks
finder
differ
comes in.
primarily
As you
in
play your
target
favorite
size.
tasks in
The tasks with
AimLabs,
larger
we
targets
analyze
provide an
all aspects
incentive
of
to
your
be
aim.
fast but
Then, it
imprecise in the
calculates a
task.
sensitivity you actually
Okay,
perform
this is
best at.
information I
Not
want
the
to
one
have.
you think feels right, but the one where
Ay,
you are
Google es
landing
la
more
peor,
shots
weón.
and
Pasó.
tracking smoother. Here's the best part. It takes under 10 minutes. Run it once a day before you hop into your main game, and you'll start.
Salir. Mientras. Ya vemos qué hacemos ahorita. Déjame leer. Gracias. I think. Frontiers in humans. I love actually, you know, read, learn. I like learning. I don't know. It's incredible. Why don't people needs to try? People needs to try like is it enjoying learning. Assessment of human expertise and movement kinematics in first-person shooter games. Yeah. Espérense. Oh my god, I was not talking. Voy a hablar en inglés, en español. Voy a desactivar la cámara porque mi celular está harto caliente, entonces no puedo seguir grabando eso. A ver, les sigo explicando. So, we also characterize the fine grained kinematics players post movement or mouse movement or findings demonstrate that movement kinematics depend on the task demands individual difference in motor acuity were significantly correlated with kinematics and performance combined across the two target sites were fully characterized by Fitts law. Our approach to measuring motor acuity has widespread application not only in sport assessment and training but also in basic motor psychophysics, and clinical research, gamify rehabilitation. Okay, in this part of the text, the introduction, I think, no, it isn't an introduction, a preface, I would say. So this is like they are saying that they are analyzing and also ¿cómo se dice eso? They are keeping track the how the player do mouse movements. So the first findings demonstrate that this movement that players do with his hand while they are doing the task depend on the task. So yeah. The second findings demonstrate that the individual difference Mercury were significantly correlated with kinematics. So las diferencias here, the difference from each player uh, rely on motor acuity. So and these difference actually are correlated with how they move the mouse. And performance combined across the two target sites was fully corrected by Fitts law. So what they were saying here about the targets, they they I mean the performance was poorly characterized by Fitts law. Fitts law, there are a kind of law we don't know. I don't know what law are those, but yeah, was poorly characterized by Fitts law. So this actually law Fitts law, it's important, but they I don't know in which way. So maybe it's a way in which they are saying like this could, if you understand this, is about tracking mouse movement. I don't know. Fitts law, it says that the time required to a move pointer, like a mouse cursor to a target, is a function of the distance to the target divided by the size of targets. In simpler terms, the greater the distance and the smaller the target, the longer it takes to reach it. The greater the distance and the smaller the target, the longer it takes to reach. This principle is fundamental in user experience and human-computer interaction design, as it helps to predict how long it takes for a user to select a target such as button or link, what I was saying. And yeah, it's that. So, but I think it did not work. Our approach to missing more equity has widespread application. Okay, in this part they are saying that this approach is also for more psychophysics and gamified revelation, which I don't know which is that. Motorpsychophysics, humans' outstanding ability to interact with the environment. Example given, transporting an object through a wall. Okay. And gamified rehabilitation. What is this? La gamificación de la rehabilitación de conversación. Okay. Get better with games. Introduction. Look. Look, es que yo esto ya no lo entiendo. Pero bueno. Vamos a hacer el esfuerzo. The principal study of digital game performance, it is in its infancy. What does word mean? Infancia. El estudio fundamental del rendimiento del juego digital está en su infancia. Okay, the principal study of digital game performance is in infancy. It's in its infancy, even though video games have been popular for decades. Performance in first-person shooter (FPS), performance in first-person shooter. So remember this is actually important. Video games relies on acquired perceptual and motor skills, and evidence suggests that playing this game enhances you more in cognitive skills in a variety of visual and cognitive tasks in children and adolescents as well as adults. There is consequently much interest in research on this topic, including the potential application in digital therapeutics, but there is a paucity of a study of game persona itself. So what they are saying here is that I don't understand this part. Let me be honest. El estudio fundamentado. Ah, ok. El estudio fundamentado del rendimiento en los juegos digitales está en sus inicios, a pesar de que los videojuegos. Ok, I understand this part right now. Well, there is no more there is not enough information about this, about how a person, a player, use the mouse. And even though video games have been popular for decades, it says there. Interest. This is interest. Okay. In evidence, video game performance in first-person shooter are FPS. Video games relies on acquired perceptual and motor skills, and evidence suggests that playing these games enhances visual motor and cognitive skills. Okay. Playing these games enhances visual motor and cognitive skills. Good. In a variety of visual and cognitive tasks in children and adolescents as well as adults. Okay, good. Motor. There is consequently much interest in research on this topic, including potential application in digital therapeutics. But there is a paucity of studies on gaming performance itself. So this is, playing video games, playing first-person shooter, FPS are good for cognitive skills and visual motor skills too. So it's good for the brain. And also this is a more, for more for therapeutics and some psychological things, but there is a paucity, there is interest of studies on gaming performance itself. So okay, good. Despite the rapidly growing popularity of competitive sports and despite the rapidly growing popularity of competitive sports in the years spent by competitive and professional players to advance their skills, the field continues to lack establishing an objective benchmark for individual skill. So I like this song. In this part of the reading, they are saying that as I say, there is no more information because the field continues to lack establishing objective for individual skill. In this part, they are saying that they are not doing what they need to do. Many of the commonly used performance metrics in sport are unreliable measures of individual skills, particularly in team games. Key benchmarks, e.g., kill death ratio, damage deal win rate, confound the skill of an individual player with that of either their teammates, the opposing team, or the coordination of the team as a whole. For instance, a player with mediocre skill is still capable of attaining a high rank simply by playing with individuals of a much higher skill. Todavía hay esperanza para nosotros para llegar a Radiante, chicos. Boom. So important too. So okay. For instance, a player with mediocre skills is stronger than average. Okay. The opposite is true for a great player with lesser skilled teammates. Reliable, repeatable, and objective individual skill assessment with both intra and inter-individual comparison on both short and longitudinal time scales are needed to characterize two player rankings, efficacy of training, and to evaluate the impact of hardware, software, and player health, posture, exercise, sleep, diet, and dietary supplements on performance. Wow, this is really interesting. I mean, so in this part of the okay, let me do something here. I mean, I understood, but I want to understand better. Okay, good. I understand. So they are saying that in this part, they are saying that in this part, for instance, the metrics in eSport or maybe in the games, for instance, the kill death ratio, the damage dealt with the rain, this they are like how uh, how many matches do you win? For instance, what is your kill death ratio? I mean, this means like how many enemies you kill in a match, and how yeah. So they are not like good metrics in order to measure individual skills. They are saying in this way they are giving an example which say a player with mediocre skill is still capable of attaining a high rank simply by playing with individuals of a much higher skill. This is where they are saying that people tend to carry other people. The opposite is true for a great player with lesser skilled teammates. Okay, this they're saying the opposite part. A good player with lesser skilled teammates, I mean, with poor abilities for socialization, can actually obtain a high rank. So they're saying reliable, repeatable, and individual assessment with both intron and interventional comparison, both short and longitudinal limit scale are needed to characterize to play ranking, efficacy of training, and to evaluate the impact of hardware, software, and player health, posture, exercise, sleep, diet, environment, performance. So what they need is all of this. But obviously they are mentioned that it's longitudinal. What it means longitudinal? It means that it means that you it's mean that you it's mean that you it's mean that I forget it's mean that you that for in order to track this, in order to understand better the skill of the players, they need time in order to like track the ability of player. But a lot of player and they are not. I don't know why. Maybe there is a lack of this. Keep reading. Okay. Visuomotor psychophysics offers experimental approaches that are well suited to assess individual players' FPS performance. Okay, visuomotor psychophysics, it's important because with this they can assess individual players' first-person shooter performance. Successful first-person shooter play requires efficient identification, localization of relevant visual stimuli, and dynamic movement followed by well-timed shoot responses. What they're saying here is that the stimuli they are referring to the enemy, and the movement the movement that the player does. To shot. One fundamental facet of first-person shooter play is flicking, the action of rapidly moving the crosshair to an object or enemy and firing a shot to damage or destroy the target. This is what I was saying, important too. Wow. Flicking is the action rapidly of moving the crosshair to an object or enemy and firing a shot to damage or destroy the target. Wow. Thank you. This is, for me, it's wow. I really like to learn this kind of things. When playing with a computer mouse and keyboard, which is typical for expert player, I am an expert player. Flicking can be achieved by wrist movement when targets are far away or wrist and finger movement when targets are nearby. Protocols for measuring such ballistic kinematics are well established and have been applied in a broad range of cognitive and visuomotor tasks. Okay. As of yet, specific knowledge regarding first-person shooter performance based on rigorous visuomotor psychophysics models remains scarce. Visuomotor skills are specialized and are often constrained to the context and modalities in which they are learned. Visuomotor skills are specialized and are often constrained to the context and modalities in which they are learned. In this thus, current laboratory-based visuomotor psychophysics research is not directly applicable to FPS performance. Okay. I don't understand what is visuomotor skills and psychophysics. Fitz's law has been shown to characterize visuomotor performance for a wide range of tasks, including an first-person shooter task. The law predicts that the time required. Look what is a Fitz law. This law predicts the time required to rapidly move to a target is a function of the ratio between the distance to the target and either the size of the target or the spatial error of the movement. Motor acuity, complementary to Fitz's law, is defined as the ability to execute more precisely and within a shorter amount of time. There is a positive study examining motor acuity, a gap likely linked to the thick research concerning laboratory-based studies. The handful of lab institutes that examine motor acuity have used relatively simple motor tasks, like drawing swivel as fast as possible within a predefined boundary, throwing darts, or central reaching and grasping. Our group previously used a large sample of in-lab performance data, over 7,000 players and over 60,000 repeats of the 6 Greek shot tasks. This is the population of them, what they are like studying, how they are getting this information from those 7,000 players. Over a period of a month to examine motor learning, using hits per second as a proxy for motor acuity, I'm sorry for that. Using hits per second as a proxy for more acuity, here we propose a new approach of measuring more. Here we propose a new approach of measuring more acuity and calculate flicking skill by characters and individual players with accurate trade-off, which we call the flicking skill assessment. It is both well established in the literature and widely discussed in the competitive gaming community that human performance exhibits a speed accuracy trade-off. Mierda. It is both well established in the literature and widely discussed in the competitive gaming community that human performance exhibits a speed accuracy trade-off. The speed of a response or action is negatively correlated with the accuracy or precision. Or precision. Players can be very fast and less accurate, but very accurate and slow, or somewhere in between. This effect can be evident for different status of speed, reaction time, movement speed, and different aspects of accuracy, person of correct response decision, movement and accuracy, and variability. Okay. A hallmark of skillful flicking skill assessment performance is the ability to adapt the current demands and prioritize speed and is the ability to adapt to current demands and prioritize speeds and accuracy relative to each other. If a task requires very fast responsive movements, a player may sacrifice accuracy to maximize speed. If there is a high cost to incorrect response, a person may take longer to respond or move more slowly to maximize accuracy. In FPS performance, one way to characterize the flicking skill assessment is in first-person shooter performance. One way to characterize flicking skill, speed accuracy trade-off is in terms of shoot behavior, with the spatial error of shoot represent accuracy and shot time. Elapsed time for a player to shoot a target, representing speed. Performance on a single task with a single incentive for speed versus accuracy is insufficient to estimate a player more acuity, as two players with the same skill may choose a different strategy and manage the speed accuracy trade-off. In this way, skill cannot be characterized. Thus, skill cannot be characterized from. In this way, skill cannot be characterized from a single data point, since skill answer will be confounded. The SVAA assesses performance in plurality. Flicking skill assessment assesses performance in the plurality of conditions in which priorities or incentives for speed and accuracy differ to each individual player's skill from their choosing trade-off between speed and accuracy. The result of this assessment is a measure of acuity for quantifying skill in the FPS flicking task, which is independent of bias or strategy. We use AI Labs, an first-person shooter video game that assesses and trains players to optimize their performance, and automated person trainer to collect data. AI Lab comprises a wide range of tasks that replicate gaming scenarios, each matched with a particular data analysis procedure and speed, represented procedure inspired by Bisumorph psychophysics. Hijo de madre palabra me la tiene podrida. ¿A qué te referís con psychophysics? Pues, amor, ¿me está hablando claro o más o menos? We recruit professionally sport athletes, especially in relevant game players involved within a team, to play two tasks, one of which incentivizes speed and the other of which incentivizes precision. In addition to assess speed accuracy trade-off and more equity via shot behavior. We also characterize kinematics of player movements. Players often aim for and destroy a target by initiating a movement toward the target, increasing and subsequently decreasing movement speed, then fire a shot slowly down or coming to a full stop. We characterize the movement by fitting a sigmoid to the time set of one position, with the best fit parameter values indicating a movement kinematics. In addition to this typical flick and land movement, players may choose to maximize speed. Players may choose to maximize speed by shooting on the fly instead of slowing down before firing. First-person shooter play refers to this type of movement behavior as a sweep movement, and we develop an approach to characterize the extent to which movement is a sweep versus a typical flick and land movement. The aim of this study was to determine if movement kinematic depends on task max, individual difference in motor acuity correlated with individual difference in movement kinematics, and if first-person shooter performance is well characterized by Fitz's law. We found that movement kinematic depended on task max, the reaction times were shorter, movement speed was furthest, and movement were more sweepy for the tasks that incentivizes speed over precision. Individual difference in motor acuity were significantly correlated with kinematics, and performance combined across the two target systems was poorly characterized by Fitz's law. The flick skill assessment or method for measuring motor acuity may be used to assess comparability within players, trying to improve skills and tracking change in performance over time. The flexibility, accessibility, and engaging nature of FPS games also makes the IFIS a promising tool for other applications such as motor realization and monitoring and training cognitive health and fitness. Okay, methods. Performance data from 32 professional and semi-professional male sport. Main age equal 22.43 más o menos less or more T.62 were collected, especially in different FPS game titles. Valorant players, PUC, Valorant, PUBG, and Rainbow Six player. Data were acquired initially for commercial purposes, especially from player account data, and without personal identifiers. For this study, the data were realized post hoc, thus we informed consent was not required. What is post hoc? Okay, after this. We realized after this was not required. Apparatus. AIMLab is a commercial software produced written in the C++ programming language using Unity game engine. Unity is a cross-platform video game engine used for developing digital games for computers, mobile devices, and gaming consoles. Players download AIMLab directly to their desktop or laptop PC. Players control their virtual weapon in AIMLab task using a mouse and keyboard while viewing the weapon on a computer screen. The participants each completed the task remotely using their own gaming setup. These include their own hardware such as the PC, monitor, mouse, and mousepad. In addition, there were other individual settings such as display size, viewing distance, share height, and mouse counts per inch. We assume that there were a vast range of equipment the combination among the participants, and we did not control for any different gaming setup between players other than CPU and mouse sensitive. However, mouse acceleration was disabled. The orientation of the player view of the environment controlled by the player's mouse was recorded in either angle and played at 120 Hz, then were uploaded to secure servers. The crosshair marked with a dot was placed towards the center of the screen and corresponded to the direction in which a shot would be fired. When the player clicked the left mouse button to shot, the projectile would move in a straight line pointing away from the player's virtual avatar. Task description. AIMLab includes a variety of different tasks designed for skill assessment and training, each tailored to a facet of a FPS player. These tasks is an assess and train a number of psychophysical processes, including visual detection, motor control, moral control, tracking moving targets, auditory, spatial localization, shape detection, working memory capacity, cognitive control, divided attention, and decision making. Vea todo lo que hace la mierda. Each task can be customized to prioritize accuracy, speed, or any basic component of performance over others. During every round, players are granted points for each target that they successfully track or shoot and destroy. Additional points are rewarded for targets destroyed more quickly or tracked for a longer period. Players attempt to maximize their score on each round by destroying or tracking as many targets as possible. In this study, we use task scenarios that assess the player's flicking skill, a combination of visualization, model planning, and model execution. Specifically, we use two tasks, grid shot and six shot. Wow, Carlos. That were very similar but different target size to characterize each player's CATA and estimate their more acuity. The tasks were designed to incentivize players to maximize their score by either prioritizing accuracy over speed when targets were smaller or prioritizing speed over accuracy. When targets were larger, each of the 32 professional level sport athletes played 6 rounds of each of the two tasks after previous session of familiarity with the task. Puedo hacer esto como proyecto. And estimated more equity. The attacks were designed to incentivize players to maximize their score by either prioritizing accuracy over speed when targets were smaller or prioritizing speed over accuracy when targets were larger. Each of the 32 professional level sport athletes played 6 rounds of each of the two tasks. Okay. Grid shot. In grid shot, figure first one. Okay. Okay. In grid shot, there are 3 targets presented simultaneously at any given time, with a new target appearing once an existing target is destroyed. There is neither a ceiling nor floor effect due to the self-paced design of the task. There are 3 targets presented simultaneously at any given time. There are 3 targets presented at any given time with a new target appearing once an existing target is destroyed. Spawning. There is neither a ceiling nor floor effect due to the self-paced design of the task. All targets are the same size, ranging between 1.3 and 1.7. Assuming of a range of viewing distance and a range of value for the field of view in the virtual environment of the game. Spawn locations are randomized to one of 55 positions in a 5 grid, ranging between 4.8 and 9.1 wide and I don't understand high and similar depending on viewing design the field of view. The player destroys a target by moving their mouse to and clicking the left mouse button to shot. Due to multiple targets being present at once and combined with the limited duration and explicit incentive to destroy a specific target, the players themselves must decide the order in which to destroy the targets. Players receive immediate counter target destruction. The game emits an explosion sounds and the shade targets splinter into multiple pieces which then disappear. Players receive a summary of performance feedback after each 60-second round of grid shot. The summary metrics include score, hits per second, and hit rate. Points are added to the score when the targets are hit, and in contrast, points are subtracted for shots that miss the target. The player's score is displayed at the top of the screen throughout the run, automatically calculated in the game software and sent to a secure server. The number of points added for each target destroyed is scaled by the time since the previously destroyed target. In other words, the shorter the time it takes to destroy the next target relative to when the previous target was destroyed. The shorter the time it takes to destroy the next target relative to when the previous target was destroyed, the more points are added to the player's score. In this way, players are incentivized to quickly plan their next movement and shoot targets rapidly, even though players are shown multiple metrics at the end of each round. It is likely that they are consciously optimizing for increased score during the actual return of task sections. Figure 1b is very similar to Wishot, whereby there is shared identical possible target location. However, the shared targets are larger. Types vary the following with different creation. 6 targets are presented at 10 rather than 3, and the target are approximately 14% the size of ratio targets if optimizing for a score. The smaller target size demand much greater shot accuracy from the player than the targets in grid shot. Okay. Data analysis, flicking skill assessment and fits law. The flicking skill assessment was based on measuring shot time interval between target appearance and the subsequent shot, and the shot spatial error. Specifically, we characterize the SAT between the two tags by exploring shot speed versus shot precision. The same two measures were used to assess fits law. I understand nothing about because I get distracted. The flicking skill assessment was based on measuring shot time interval between target appearance and the subsequent shot. Okay, and shot spatial error. Specifically, we characterize the SAT between the two tags by plotting shot speed versus shot precision. The same two measures were used to assess fits law. Mouse calibration. To measure the player's physical mouse movement, we converted the player's orientation in the virtual environment to the corresponding of the mouse on the mousepad, which has units of symmetry. This requires additional information about the relationship between physical mouse movement and changes in player orientation, which vary across players due to their setting in aim-lab and their own hardware and software. For each player, we recorded their in-game setting that govern the field of view and the mouse sensitivity, the magnitude of a change in camera rotation, derived from a single increment or count of the mouse hardware. The individual mouse sensitivities were constant across X and Y for each player. Each player mouse, either hardware or software board, had a unique setting that determined the number of counts that resolved for each one of these travels count per each CPI. Players' camera orientation was converted into physical mouse movement as listed below. Mouse sensitivity per 0.x and 1. Angle increment, total degree. I understand this. The value of 0.05 is an arbitrary constant using the unit of software code to scale mouse counts to degree increments. After this conversion across all player and tags, the maximum target distance was 5.60 cm. In this way, all target proximal angle that players could have landed on every target into combination among all the risk rotation and bending or strengthening the fingers for strengthening, that was the word, for honorable movement were not strictly necessary. I need an explanation about this. This passage is explaining how researchers converted what happened on the screen into real-world mouse movement in semesters so they could measure how much a player physically moves their mouse. Let's break it down step by step. It's important. Big idea. When you move the right mouse, the camera turns your camera, but the amount in turn depends on your setting. So the researchers needed a way to answer. If the camera turns X degrees, how many times did the player actually move their mouse? What is complicated? Different players have different mouse settings in eye, field of view, my hardware, how many details is my pushing move. Because of this, the same physical one can rotate the camera more or less depending on the player. The conversion process. They use a formula in 3 steps. Convert sensitive into degrees per mouse count. Mouse sensitive por 0.35 degrees turn per count. One tiny unit of movement taken by the mouse. There is just a constant binary gain. This tells how much the camera turns for each tiny mouse step. Total degrees turn divided degrees per count equal counts. This calculates how many tiny mouse steps happen. After converting everything, the first started requiring only some moment. The next player could reach using just with wrist and finger movement. No need to move the whole arm. This is important because it shows the task measure find more could know how big arm movement. Okay, so I am good. In plain English, they track how much the camera training in the game. Then use each player sending mouse speed to how many times they are actually moving the mouse. But if you want, I can give a concrete number. No worries. Movement. What is this? Movement parsing. To assess le vamos hasta las 7. Bueno, a las 12 y luego como vuelvo. Moment parsing. ¿Qué es parsing? Análisis de movimiento. To access movement kinematics, we will parse the time series of each player orientation in the virtual environment of the game as controlled by their mouse movement. Each time point was labeled as either in motion or stationary. Epochs were labeled as in motion after several consecutive samples exceeded in a velocity threshold. Conservatively, epochs were labeled as stationary after several consecutive samples fell below a velocity threshold. The number of consecutive samples using the value of the threshold were determined using a proprietary algorithm procured from a large dataset of the lab. Procured from large dataset of in-lab players. The primary movement for each target was identified as the primary movement for each target was identified as the largest amplitude movement in the direction of the target. During each 60-second run of the tags, tengo que quitarme los audífonos, no me puedo concentrar bien. The primary movement for each target was identified as the largest amplitude movement in the direction of the target. During each 60-second run of the task, these primary movements were often followed by corrective movement, an action in response to not having destroyed the target with the primary movement. For instance, the primary movement could be hypermatic, indicating that the player passes beyond the target, and they must initiate a corrective movement in the opposite direction back toward the target. Alternatively, the primary movement could instead be hypometric, falling short of the target and requires a corrective movement in the same direction as the primary movement. At times, multiple corrective movements were needed to destroy the target. These combined movements were distinguished from one another by the movement parsing procedure outlined above. Each component movement was fit separately, whether it was a primary or corrective movement. Marica, esto le aguanto hacer un video rechimbo. Hypometric or... ¿Cuál era la otra? Hypermetric. At times, multiple convertive movements were needed to destroy the target. These component movements were distinguished from one another by the movement parsing procedure outlined above. Each component movement was fit separately, whether it was a primary or corrective movement. Movement kinematics. By fitting parametric functions to the mouse movement data, we quantify the feature of an individual's motor behavior. So this resulted in a measurement of speed, precision, accuracy, reaction time, as well as weapons. So specifically, player orientation during each period, labeled as in motion, was fit with a sigmoidal function. I don't understand what's Could you understand me? Qué mierda. Explain this. This section is describing how the research modeled the player's movement over time using a sigmoid curve. Let's unpack it step by step to make it sense. What they're trying to do, they want to mathematically describe how players aim change during movement from start, motion, stop. Instead of using raw nosy data, they fit the movement to a smooth curve called a sigmoid, which is commonly used to model gradual changes, the main equation. This function describes how positions change over time. Okay. Instead of using raw nosy data, they fit the movement to a smooth curve called a sigmoid, which is commonly used to model gradual changes. What each part means: time, total movement size, how far they move overall, speed of the movement, how steep the curve is, midpoint time when movement is halfway done, Euler's number, just part of the exponential function. So this function creates an H-shaped curve that starts slow but speeds up, then slow again, exactly how human movement typically behave. Well, signal makes sense for aiming. When you move from out to a target, you start slowly, you accelerate, you slow down as you reach the target. That pattern is naturally S-shaped. The next two equations, they say they model oriented in vertical function separately. What that terms mean here totally is okay. Notice speed in terminal shape for both x and y, meaning they assume that movement happens with the same time in both direction. Putting it all together, the researchers are saying during each aiming movement, we feed the player's common rotation to a smooth curve over time, separately for horizontal and vertical direction to estimate how big, how fast, and when the movement happens. Why this is useful? Using this model lets them measure things like reaction time, movement speed, movement precision, difference between players. Okay. Where equation defines the sigmoid. The value of x in equation represent a model of the horizontal component of the moment of thread for each time. Okay. The values of the y in equation represent a model of the vertical component of the moment trajectory for each time point sample. Example illustrated of the top of the model campaigns are shown in figure 2. The top row of figure 2 shows 2 samples movement in units of centimeter transferred using the mouse calibration. The bottom row of figures 2 shows the same 2 examples movement scales to normalized units, so that one corresponds to the target location. The left shows the same 2 so that one corresponds to the target location. The left column of figure 2 shows an example of flick and land. In this panel, the shot vertical descent occurs after the movement ends and the movement lands of the target location. The right column of figure 2 shows an example of a swipe. The shoot it's made during the middle of the movement and the movement lands well past the target location. The values of the parameters were fixed to each individual movement trajectory using the Leavenworth-Markov algorithm. In equation 2 and 3, the x and y movement components were fit with shared parameters P3 and P4. These parameters were then calculated from the best fit parameters. So sample x speed peak speed at the midpoint of the movement, precision. Okay. Specifically, the movement speed and accuracy of each pass movement were quantified. This is so hard to understand. The function is derived of the same point, the value. To characterize the degree to which each ballistic movement resembles a swipe, the action of shooting of the flight. First, a flick and land movement. We compare the time of each shoot that player made with the time of the midpoint from the associated ballistic movement. An ideal swipe corresponds to firing a shot at the midpoint of a movement, the time point with maximum speed, and the other hand, an ideal flick and land corresponds to firing a shot only after the movement has ended, long after the midpoint of the movement. What this represents? And the time it passed into this, into the x and y cardinal points, and the time they use for get to the target and click it. And the ways of we're dividing the time of shoot movement by the movement divided by 2. There is data processing. Thank you. For each player, we computed SPAR for every movement in grid shot and six shot, and swipiness for every movement that had a corresponding shot fire. We then applied several steps of post-processing. Firstly, upper and lower band threshold were applied to remove outliers. For all of the metrics, the 50, the 95% was used for the upper band value and 0 was used for the lower band value. Sigmoid fits with an error and a square value of less than 0.5 were pruned. Each accuracy to percent of the distance to target. We then subtracted 100 from each value, such that a parametric movement has negative values and a hypermetric had positive values. Accuracy values of 0 indicate that the player fired shot early at the center of the target to destroy it. We computed the median of each metric, separately for each individual player and separately for each tax and movement type condition. This yielded a total of 20 variables for per player. 5 metrics. Es que esta monda no la entiendo. Motor acuity. We predicted that pro and semi-pro players would exhibit a SAT as a function of the target size. In particular, we predicted that players would exhibit systematic difference in movement behavior between grid shot and six shot. Grid shot, large target sees bigger. Large target sees incentivizes players to maximize score by moving as quickly as possible with relatively low shot precision. Median shot error as measured by the distance to the center of the nearest target in centimeters. In comparison, six shot targets are much smaller and require high precision, which consequently means that players are motivated to slow in order to maximize their score. Figure 4 illustrates the SAT and the flicking skill assessment, and the left panel of figure 4 shows shot speed, median shot time as a function of the median shot error for grid shot and six shot. Each line connects the grid shot and six shot data for a single player. Our findings indicate that each player followed the expected pattern behavior, faster and most variable in grid shot compared to six shot. This demonstrates that players responded strategically and appropriately to the different demands of the two tasks. The right panel of figure 4 replots this result in terms of precision. The curves represent the transformed lines from the left panel. The dashed diagonal line span from 2 to 3 times the standard derivation plus the mean of the shot precision distribution and shots per second distribution. These lines represent the axis of motor acuity. The AT curves placed toward the upper right indicate better performance, higher precision combined with faster speed. We obtain a flicking skill value for each player by identifying the point along the diagonal line that intersects with the player's SAT curve. Notably, these flicking skill values are related to certain aspects of movement kinematics as detailed in the following subsection. Performance combined across the two target sizes was poorly characterized by Swiss law. For each target, we measured the shot time, indicating that players were similar constant in their landing position for each shot and set shot. Individual difference in motor acuity and kinematics. Motor acuity, as measured with the A-phase AA, was predicted of individual indifference in movement kinematics. Figure 7 shows the relationship between individual difference in motor acuity and movement kinematics. For Richard, motor acuity was negatively correlated with reaction time, while possibly correlated with accuracy, speed, and precision. Ay, la cagué. Destruction shot time of a target and the first shot at the subsequent target, the target distance, and shoot error. The logarithm of the radius of the target distance and shoot error was computed separately for each target and then divided by the side. For each beam, we computed the median shoot time and the median logarithm of the radius of the target distance and shoot error. Fits lab a very good characterization of behavioral performance when fits properly to data from each task, but a very poor characterization of the data when combined across the two tasks. In other words, shot time were well predicted by philosophy and the target error for each task, but not for the task dependent of movement. Movement kinematics were differ from the two tasks. Figure 6 illustrates each player parametric change for each movement kinematics metrics, with grid shot on the x-axis and stick shot on the y-axis. The results indicate that players were more hypometric in stick shot compared to grid shot. Players were faster to react, they moved their move at a faster pace and fired early in their movement trajectory. In grid shot compared to stick shot, there was no statistical evidence of a significant difference in the variability of accuracy between tasks. Motor acuity as measured for grid shot. For grid shot, motor acuity was negative correlated with reaction time and sweepiness, while positively correlated with accuracy, speed, and precision. For stick shot, motor acuity was also negatively correlated with reaction time and sweepiness, and positively with precision. For both acts, the interpretation of this result is that players with greater motor acuity initiated movement more quickly, landed with lower parallelity, and fired shot earliest player in movement trajectory. Moreover, in grid shot only, players with greater motor acuity exhibited faster movement speeds and better accuracy. Okay. Discussion and conclusion. Ya vamos a terminar. In this study, we developed and validated the flicking skill assessment of a novel approach to objectively assess individual player skills in games. Furthermore, we elucidated the systematic relationship between motor acuity and movement kinematics. All results reveal the individual difference in motor acuity and movement kinematics between professional level of FPS players, as well as difference in kinematic across tasks with different target size. The proposed SVAI is an elegant and efficient approach which requires only an adjustment of target size between similar tasks. The player's performance were found to differ between tasks whereby players use a more conservative strategy in stick shot compared to grid shot. The movement kinematics provide detailed information about the nature of this shift in strategy between tasks. Players take longer to plan their movement, move slower, file their trade, and more likely to land hypometrically in stick shot compared to grid shot, given that the targets in stick shot are small and require less error compared to target in grid shot. This adaptation in shot and movement behavior is a rational and efficient approach. Players sacrifice speed for accuracy and display more of a bias toward conservative. Landing position during 6 shot compared to grid shot, or analysis characterized by difference in motor acuity and movement kinematic across professional level. Sport athletes, players differ in the degree to which they can be both fast and accurate. Players with a higher motor acuity value, their set curves are further upwards and rightwards, were both faster and more accurate overall than players with a lower motor acuity value, and are in this way considered to have a higher skill level. Critically, motor acuity is significantly correlated with a subset of movement kinematics. This demonstrates that individual difference in flicking skills are predictive of individual difference in kinematics. Greater motor acuity is accompanying faster reaction times, greater precision, and a tendency to shoot earlier in the trajectory for both grid shot and 6 shot. Perhaps surprisingly, Fitz law provided a poor characterization of performance when combined across the two tasks. Fitz law provides a good characterization of behavioral performance with a fit separately to the data from each task, but a very poor characterization of data when combined across the two tasks. We speculate that this failure of Fitz law reflects a difference in strategy between the two tasks, specifically that players tended to be more swipey for grid shot than for 6 shot. A previous study found excellent agreement between Fitz law and behavior in a FPS task, but the participants in that study were either amateur gamers or did not report playing FPS games at all. Sweeping is an advancing skill that is commonly used by highly competitive and professional players when speed is of paramount importance. One crucial design element of the FCA in the inclusion of more than one task, each with distinct incentives regarding speed and precision. The placement of an individual entire CIT curve is the key to quantifying more of quality, rather than placement of a single data position. The data curve itself represents the possible computation of shoot speed and shoot precision given the player's skill with the player's current strategy, determining where along the curve their current speed and precision is drawn from. Two players with identical set curves and have different strategies within the same task which adapt performance would sample different values for speed and precision on the same curve, including multiple tasks each with distinct incentives for speed and precision, enables the characterization of CT across possible incentives and thus isolates more acuity. Indeed, we have implemented a version of the FCA flicking skill up assessment with 3 different target sizes. In this task, Kela the reflect shot one target in one time appears in current randomized location, combined 20 majority leaps in front of the player virtual avatar. Players have a limited time to destroy each target before it times out and it disappears. To provide a visual cue for time remaining, each target gradually becomes more transparent and then disappears. The target presentation duration is stated according to performance. The duration is decreased on the next trial after a target is destroyed, and the duration is increased on the next try affects a target separately for each target size. A second crucial design element is the measure of both speed and precision. It is not possible to use a single performance metric as a proxy for motor acuity, considering it is defined by both speed and accuracy. For instance, retrieving only shot speed from both stakes can be confounded by players simply shooting sooner, with no ramification for being inaccurate, a behavior that does not reflect high skill. Our measure of motor acuity and the movement kinematics were derived from different behavioral sources. Show behavior and movement repetitively by identify a systematic relationship between the two sources. Our findings demonstrate that individual difference in player skills correspond to individual difference in underlying movement kinematics. We propose that FCA, a measure of motor acuity, represents a powerful tool for quantifying skills in a FPS flicking task. One of the major benefits of the FCA is the capability of to isolate players' skill from context-dependent strategy regarding SAT. Indeed, Indeed, player can achieve their best possible skill ranking by matching a shot behavior with task incentive. However, their reliability will determine the upper limit of their measure motor acuity. When they adopt the optimal strategy across tasks in the FCA, faced with different target sizes, players who are experienced in skill are predicted to flexibly adjust their behavior to maximize performance. Show the speed and precision reveal their flicking skills, and the relative skill of individual players can be objectively compared by using this motor acuity metric. Gabriel had invested in optimizing their performance, including farther distance from improving FPS skill pursuit. To that end, it is of great value for this community to establish objective framework for how any given influential performance can be altered or shaped to maximize gaming outcomes. Using the FSIA, the industry currently assess within participative motor acuity to reveal the influence relative efficacy of particular hardware, software, and various other factors related to health and physical ability of player. As the scientific study of gaming performance is in its fancy, the FSIA is an unprecedented and broadly applicable tool to efficiently establish foundation knowledge in the field. The FCA not only allows for comparison to the population, but additionally provides feedbacks on an individual level. That is, each individual user may measure their own baseline during an initialization of the FCA, so that repeated gameplay can monitor changes relative to this baseline. This is particularly salient for expert professional, given that currently available metrics are unstated and team performance may include overclock details on regular performance, elucidating the comparable strengths and weaknesses of each member of any given sport team will not only provide a basis for coaching but for team composition as well. This flexible tool is also a promising training regimen for improving FP skill. As e-sport professional, the participants in pooling is to be able to recognize and adapt to incentivize for sustainable tax respected players of a lower skill or experience level would be more likely to fail at adjusting their shot behavior according to task demands, causing performance to suffer. The FSAA can readily identify such faculty or intuitive adjustment in the strategy. To be specific, the slope of the line fit to a player should speed by shooter receives either negative near zero or near vertical. This indicates that the player did not make that trade-off between a crossing speed to maximize performance scenario. And a segment training protocol based on the FCA would be able to automatically provide additional feedback explaining the different incentives between the tasks based on CAT, and for example, instructing the player to slow down or speed up depending on target size. Ultimately, repeat participation in the physical facility the improvement of flicking through experience and practice in conjunction with the explicit instruction of the optimal strategies a player should use during play. The capacity of the FCA to provide over a short period of time with no ceiling or floor effect or a measure of motor equity independent settings that makes it a promising tool for a wide range of both basic and applied research. For example, visomorph psychokinetic and rehabilitation, as noted above, there is a positive accompanying studies examining motor equity. The FCA has the potential to fill the critical gap in the study of human motor behavior and visomotor psychophysics. As with any other instance of motor learning that is characterized by reinforcement learning, physical rehabilitation aims to improve motor equity at the same time. Rehabilitation must also assess performance to provide motivating feedback for the patient and clinically relevant data for the therapist to guide rehabilitation. Neuroplasticity drives motor learning, which itself depends on movement, repetition, and intensity. Neuroplasticity is also facilitated by a stack engagement and enjoyment. Furthermore, calibrating task difficulty to an individual skill level is critical for rehabilitation. Because competency is an intrinsic motivator, the FSA has certified all of the criteria a challenging adaptive and engaging tasks based on repetitive movement behavior. Thus, incorporating the FSA into gamified rehabilitation will enable objective quantification of behavioral motor performance and could be rapidly and inexpensively developed at scale and normally provided to large population. The participants in the current study were all experienced, highly skilled FPS players. Further investigation is required to establish the degree to which offense generalized to a broader population of FPS players, the general population or the clinical population. Additionally, it will be crucial to establish how lower skilled players gradually improve through training experience and the corresponding changes in movement kinematics, as well as how to optimize training. Data available statement. The data presented are not really available because data is proprietary. Request to access data should be directed to GL. Our contribution ID, MSc, and KD carry out the analysis and assisted with the study design, manuscript preparation. The HNGL assisted with the study design and manuscript preparation. WN design and implement the story of writing text. All others contributed to the article and approved the submitted version. The author would like to thank the NLab team users whose playing time and performance that I have contributed to this work. To leave a name, the HR officer at Space Labs, AD, MSCKD, and Gerard Pratt at State Space Labs. All claims expressed in this article are solely those of the author and do not celebrate the whole the failure or those of the publisher, the editors, and the reviewers. Any proof that may be in the article, the claim that may be is no guarantee by the publisher. Wow, qué interesante.